Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. I am back from Miami. I am refreshed. I am recharged. I am back in the charts, and I'm excited to see this morning having some of these coins start moving. Does it mean everything's up and away from here? Is this just a little bit of a relief before we go lower? What's going on in the charts? How are you feeling? My name is Kellam. Welcome to the daily stream here on BitlabAcademy.com. I just, of course, feels like every other day I've got to completely reset a studio since I travel so much, but I'm all reset. Let me know. Throw a 1 in chat if audio, visual, everything is working as intended. Throw a 2 in chat if you're feeling good, if you're looking good, if you're trading good. Throw a 3 in chat if you've had some losses recently, which all of us do it sometimes. And we want to make sure everybody realizes that if somebody is having a bad time, that they're not the only one. So it's important for us not just to talk about our wins, but to talk about our losses too, so other people know it's not just them, but also the fact that we have an opportunity to learn from every mistake. Special shout out to everybody here in the chat, and a quadruple, triple shout out to Mr. Brad Guidell. I had a great time meeting with him down in Miami. He actually was sitting in the room for one of the streams that I did, I think Saturday morning. It was a brief stream, but it was fun to have him in there. It was great to meet so many people out there in Miami. You know, one of the Benjamin Cowan, if you ever follow him, definitely check him out. He did a private gathering I think it was Friday night. And it was like I felt like a piece of plankton in a sea of humpback whales, man. It was crypto banter, me, Cryptos R Us, Crypto Crow, Crypto Zombie, Tom Crown, Crypto Face. Who else was there? Frankie Candles, BitBoy, TJ. Mind Your Biz. Who else? There were so many people there. I don't mean to leave anybody out. If I do, Tiffany Fong. God, the list just goes on and on of who was there. What's his name? Evan Aldo. I will be bringing Evan Aldo on the show. We're going to do some basically sharing with our audiences, going back and forth. Made so many great connections while there in Miami, and put a lot of faces to names. And it wasn't just other influencers. There's also a lot of people like Brad Guidell and Tim from Investing Bros, who's also part of Hit Network here. And also, of course, if you don't know yet, or if maybe you're new here, Tim and I also worked together on the Crypto Jeb show. We did a sort of joint meetup and met with, we had Crypto Sec guy there, Elliot Locke. Who else was there? Agent Gold. There's somebody else, a couple other people there. And my apologies, my memory is always not. So I see Crypto Sec in chat. What's up, brother? It's so nice to hang out with you guys. And Elliot Locke. Man, it was just so fun to put faces to names of people that we've been seeing in the chat. All of us, you know, seeing each other in the chat for so many years now, and it was nice to break some bread and realize that this isn't just about numbers and charts and assets. This is also about people. This evolution, this revolution in the monetary system with blockchain and Bitcoin and all the the different alt assets that are out there. That's only one piece of it. Maybe that's just the rails. But there's also the human aspect of it. You know, we want to do this not because we think Ethereum's cool, not because we think Cardano is going to have some great gains, not because we want to find the next altcoin. Maybe all those things are part of it. But at the end of the day, what we really want to do is we want to dive into the ability, the potential to have financial sovereignty, not just for ourselves. We got to remember, a rising tide raises all ships. So that's one of the reasons why I was so inspired to become more in the public sphere in this YouTube game, and building out BitLab Academy before this, helping build out Club DeFi over at the Crypto Jeb team, because I've been in crypto for quite a long time, and I realized that I could have an impact beyond just expanding my portfolio, but also sharing my thoughts, sharing some of the skills, sharing some of the tools that I've learned over the years, and selfishly learn from all of you as well. Be an outlet for people to tune into, be a hub for people to come and learn, so that I can help contribute, and you all being here helping contribute to the growth of the space through people learning and educating themselves, so that more people can navigate this space in a healthy way. So if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and drop an elbow on that bell, ding that bell so you get notifications when we go live. Now that we do have the new BitLab Academy out, I will be, I'm going to be focusing and trying to make every attempt to do several afternoon videos as well. I have not, maybe I'll do a poll towards the end of the show. I'm considering shortening the morning show to around an hour. I'll leave it to you all to decide. And the only reason I would be doing that is so that I could have more bandwidth throughout the day to get other things done that I need to get done, because it's not just as simple as pressing go live and going live on the stream. Of course, I have to prepare for it. And then, you know, an hour and a half of my day past preparing for the hour or so to do the stream. I want to create more bandwidth in the middle of the day to handle Discord messages and customer service outreach and just community engagement throughout the day for BitLab Academy. And in addition to that, be able to do that and then also potentially do other videos, shorter videos, you know, 10-minute to 15-minute videos in the afternoon. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'll do a poll here towards the end of the show, and I will be drawing winners today because I didn't do it Friday or Saturday just because the shows were so short. So if you have not yet, make sure you can. And well, let's just all hope that my browser, I don't know why my browser keeps crashing. I made sure it was up to date. I safe booted. I did all the things. So I'm not sure if there's I actually deactivated a bunch of extensions as well. Maybe that was the thing. I'm not sure. But if you haven't yet, come over to BitLab Academy. Follow us here at Academy BitLab. Hit that follow button. Come down here. Hit that retweet button. And hit that heart. You get entered to win. We will be drawing today. And I, of course, took Wednesday's deal off here because I did not stream this last Wednesday. So this Monday will be last week. If you do retweet today, of course, on Friday when we draw, of course, your Monday retweet will be included in this week's drawing win. So this will be last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All those that you retweeted and helped build our community and helped let people know where they could come and learn what the heck's going on in these charts. Just want to do a special thank you to all of you that participate. And, you know, each one of you that hits that like button, you hit that subscribe button and ding that bell, you're not only helping this channel grow, but you're helping YouTube, which, let's face it, is a mainstream media outlet now with how many people watch it. We're letting them know every time you hit a like button or a subscribe button on any crypto channel, you're letting them know that this content matters to you and it helps drive this space forward. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about volatility, baby. This is what we're waiting for in the space. We have to remember, volatility doesn't just mean price go up. Volatility means price move fast, and it could move in either direction. So how can we prepare for it? You know, we're coming up. I was going to say we're coming up on May 22nd. It is May 22nd. We are living in the future. May 22nd, 2023. And we've got a lot of big things coming up. We got a lot of things. We can actually pull it up. Let me pull it up right now. Forex calendar. We're going to sort of scroll through this in a second. We got the debt ceiling decision coming up June 1st, which will likely go all the way until, you know, near midnight on May 31st. So, but there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen there, because if we were to default, that would have some pretty uncertain impacts on what's going on in the global marketplace, the global financial marketplace. And let's face it, as separate as we want Bitcoin and the altcoin markets to be, it is still part of the global context of finance. And so if risk off behavior comes in swiftly and markets sell off, I'm not going to say it's absolutely going to bring Bitcoin and altcoins down, but the likelihood is high that a correlation would be there. So we would just want to we want to pay attention to that. Now, will they actually not come to a decision and default? My sort of mind around it is more likely than not on no. I do think they will come to some sort of a agreement and raise the debt ceiling. We've done it 78 times since mid 60s, excuse me. So we still need to prepare ourselves. We still need to be open to price going in both directions, but we're also at certain points on the roadmap on the 4-year cycle, the 210,000 block cycle. What do I mean by the 210,000 block cycle? The 210,000 block cycle is the true cycle not the 4 years, because the 4 year is just an estimate. It's usually about 3 years, 10 months, and it's based on 210,000 blocks. And that tends to be just shy of 4 years. So there's some data that we can be looking at right now. Of course, we're going to look at a lot of technical analysis. I'm going to kind of intermix it throughout the show, but there's some other signals and some other things that we need to discuss that can give us some sort of leading signals as to what's going on in the market, what the behaviors are of certain people, certain cohorts of the market, and how we can best prepare. So before we jump into that, again, if this is your first time, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy show. And again, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. I'm going to go ahead and do some shout outs right now for everybody in chat. I already shouted out my boy, Mr. Brad Guidell. We had Karen Swigart Harris, Total Clinic Solutions, Alexandra G, always in the house, Sawtooth Hiker, Crypto Kid. Also met Crypto 420. He walked up to me at the conference. Really nice meeting him. Unforgettable name. I can never remember his name, but maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Donatello Cabrera, Creighton C, Mr. Blake, academiciated. I don't know if that's said correctly. Satoshi Glockamoto, love the name. Blazing 2Js, learning. I think that's all we're going to do for now. We got to jump in. Brian D, Taz, is Tazgogs in here? Taz Dinas. Do we got Gia S in here? Crypto Sec Guy, how you doing, my friend? I love Crypto Sec Guys. So it's such a, I appreciated how calm, just such a chill vibe. I always loved running into him at the conference. Elliot Locke, how you doing? Who else we got? Crimson Caravan Company, always in the house. Okay, let's go ahead and get this going. Let's get it rolling. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, we got 137 people in the room. We only got 62 likes. Get your fingers off the desk, on your mouse button, and tickle that button. That just sounds a little bizarre, doesn't it? Well, I said it. We're going to have to stick with it. So what's going on this week? Okay, we're coming up towards the end of the month. We still got several days left. Okay, let's see. It is, what is today? May 22nd. So nothing major today. We had some stuff from Australia. Nothing. Okay, so Tuesday we've got Bank of Japan core CPI. That's not going to have a huge impact on the markets. Coming into the U.S., basically the U.S. Tomorrow we've got flash manufacturing, producer PMI, flash services, new home sales. This will be interesting to see right here. Is there going to be any sort of retraction in the housing market going into the next 6 months? Are sales down or sales up? Now we got Wednesday. Okay, we got in Great Britain, we've got the CPI, the core CPI, PPI, a lot of acronyms here. What does this mean? We're still very heavily leaning on what this different core economic data is. This data, not only in the U.S., but we're looking at some of the major players on the global landscape: Great Britain, China, Japan. And we're really trying to see if there's indication that we are moving towards recession or away from it. If we are going to give, I don't want to say incentive, but is the data going to lean towards Jerome Powell and the Fed, going into the next FOMC meeting on June 13th and 14th, into potentially pausing? Is it going to be another rate hike? So this is why we're paying attention to this. Now, of course, all of us here are in some way or fashion interested in Bitcoin and the crypto ecosystem. So why are we looking at all this absolutely feels like mundane data? Well, this is the stuff right now because everything is sitting there on a razor's edge about where the market's going to go, what it's going to do, that we're paying attention to this so that we can have some sort of speculative probability about what the monetary policy positions are going to be moving towards that direction. So this is why we're paying attention to this. Where was it? U.S. dollar, okay, Treasury Yellen speaking. Crude oil inventories, this will be interesting. FOMC meeting minutes from last FOMC meeting. Will this give us an indication about what their mindset was going into the next FOMC meeting, which is coming up in about 2.5 weeks, I guess about 3 weeks. Unemployment claims on Thursday. we're getting a lot of data that's coming out this week. So what are we doing? Well, let's go ahead and take a peek here at the markets. So let's look at Bitcoin. It's getting a lot. We're just going to take a snapshot here, and we're going to come back to this. So stick around. We're going to be going through a lot of coins, but we need to get some sort of. We had a couple light days on TA, a couple light days out of the charts. You know, I was focused on everything going on in while I was in Miami. You had some short shows, so we need to take a look at some of these things on a broader basis. And I want you to remember this. Whenever you take some time away from the charts, I don't care if it's May 1st or May 22nd, meaning beginning of the month, middle of the month, when you take a few days outside of the charts, which can be good and healthy sometimes, when you come back, you need to reassess what's going on. Even the macro, even the on-chain, even the stuff you just know, even if you've been peeking at it on your phone, come back, wipe your mind clean, come back with a fresh set of eyes and look at what's going on in the charts so that you can have a fresh understanding of what's happening. So we're going to double click here. We're just going to look, let's go ahead and expand this. Now, what's going on with Bitcoin? Well, we have this falling channel right here. We have this falling channel. We got rejected from this point of control right here on the Mesopic. By the way, we will be releasing this here very shortly. I'm meeting with the team later this afternoon to figure out what the release schedule is going to be for this indicator, which somebody commented on the BitBoy show when we showed it there. Well, you're just going to charge for something that's free. This is not the same as the VPVR. This has order blocks built into it that basically identifies when there's a volume anomalies at certain price points so that you can identify where there's going to be a likely region that liquidity is going to come back and touch. And we see right here, this zone right here, which was created here, this box is projected out. Price had some interaction here, came back, tested it, fell through, tested it as a rejection here. So these can be very good points. We can see if we actually turn on the submersus, let's turn off the feather. We see all these boxes that it's creating. So not only are we getting this sort of volume profile, the visual range, or just a limited range like this that tracks along with the price as price moves, we can also see that we have these volume anomalies, and you could set how far out you want these boxes to go. I tend to have them fairly short because I don't want it to be super messy on my chart. And you can see if you put your mouse near it, you have your cursor that goes all the way across, and you can see right here this volume anomaly. Price actually has been trading right on this volume anomaly for some time. And we can see we were in this rising wedge. Price action fell back into it, but we fell into it with the bullish pattern with this falling channel. So what does this mean? Are we going to just come sideways and come and break out of this? Is this going to continue down? Well, we're going to look at some of the more macro stuff here in a few minutes, and then we'll come back to the shorter time frame stuff. But we're seeing that we're really, where we're at right now, we're trading at the same level that we were on March 16th. So all of this has just been noise. And this is, I want to shout out Mr. AJ Wrights Crypto. He did a great video on BitBoy Crypto walking around the conference, and it was the 5 things that he wished he knew that we should always tune into if we're looking back a year. And one of the points he made was patience. Slow down. Some people right here felt like they missed the boat and got in up here because they were worried they were going to miss it on the way up, only to have price come back and revisit these same areas right here. And it's looking like we're going to have an opportunity. We're gonna sort of break this down. It's looking like we're gonna have an opportunity for prices to even to visit a little bit lower. So people that missed here and that were patient could have ignored all this noise and potentially be getting prices at a better price just because being paid from patience. Patience really does a huge service to what we're doing in the charts, because when we jump in without patience, aka FOMO or greed, we're trying not to miss out. We're trying, oh, we got to catch this move. I got to get in now, because that's usually when we find ourselves in trouble. So I just want to make sure I can see everything. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and squish this down. I just want to make sure I can see the live alerts from the mods, in case there's any big questions, in case there's anything to add here. And again, I want to encourage you guys to ask questions. And and anybody that does do super chats, I have a private thing with the mods, so they notify me. Since I am a one-man show here, I don't have another producer flagging certain things. Mods do such a great work of letting me know what's going on here. So we got 156 people in the room. 75 likes. Let's get those likes up. We're going to be breaking down a lot of stuff today, but we're seeing here on Bitcoin, we've got a little bit, I won't call it a head and shoulders, but very similar shape. Just even on these two sort of price action points here, we can see just from here, we've got a high and then a consecutive lower highs. So it looks like that momentum is increasing to the downside. So we're going to keep an eye on this. So we're going to look at a bunch of other things in chat. What happened to my, oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, something disappeared on my screen. Cardano looking like it's attempting a rally, but is this going to be a short-lived relief rally? We got AVAX over here. Look at this. This is looking a little, this is on the, this is a 15-minute. It pays to make sure you're on the right chart. I thought this was a 4-hour cup and handle, and I was going to say that would be pretty darn bullish. But even still, we are looking, of course, we fell through this, but we're coming right back to these levels. But we do have, as it stands right now, we have an hour and 37 minutes left. We do have a basically large bullish candle. We have look at this hammer candle right here, all the way up to basically the opposite of a hammer candle, which is shaped the same. Hanging man. Both of these are potential reversal candles. This was a reversal to the upside. Is this setting up for a reversal back to the downside? And in this case, I'm only looking at the candles. Candles can be such an asset to your ability to understand what's going on with momentum. So we're going to take a look at this. We can see XRP. Let's get it back on the 4-hour chart. Okay, look at that. We did have this rising wedge. Fell out of it. Looking weak here. Same thing, same sort of candle structure. We see this right here. Bit of a hammer candle, bit of a fall, almost, it's more of a doji or a spinning top, but same thing as a hanging man, potential reversal candle. Why? It's showing you indecision. Moved up, now we have indecision. That's why this is a potential reversal candle. Now, if we come over here to, let's go to, okay, this is actually what I want to talk about. We're going to be looking at a lot more altcoins here in a little while. But one of the things I wanted to point out here is we're looking at dominance. And look at this sort of diamond formation that we're having here. This is where this is the main point that I'm looking at. When I'm talking about volatility coming in, there's going to be volatility that's going to shape different parts of the markets differently. What do I mean by that? Well, if the dominance, and this is basically expanding. Now this is contracting. This is like a diamond pattern. We came up into this. If there's strength that comes in the market, this very well could break out to the upside. But a lot of times this can be a reversal pattern. We had bullish sort of movement into this and expanding and then contracting. There's we're getting lower highs as well. Is this going to break down and send altcoins on a little mini alt season, little alt rally? Well, we're gonna talk about that. We are seeing a lot of bearish divergences on the volume down here, sort of indicating that this could happen. However, with these sort of indexes or dominance, I primarily focus with these on levels and shapes, like price action patterns, because this isn't really price action. This is dominance. And so while I will look at the indicators on these, I focus more heavily on the patterns on the chart and particular levels. This has been holding for quite a long time, this 48% level, 48.7, just around 48. Is this setting up for a move to come to the downside? Meaning liquidity flowing primarily into the altcoins. Well, we're going to talk about that. Now, if we move out of this and we look over here at the total market cap for basically all the alts, basically everything but Bitcoin, this is just tracking down, but it is holding rather nicely on this level. 520, okay. I got a ding in my ear. Now, we're going to come back to this in a second. I want to go through a couple things to frame the context of what's going on in the market before we get there. So before we do that, I just want to again shout out everybody that's in the room. We got 180 people in the room, 87 likes. The best thing you can do to support crypto is hit that like button. and subscribe. Join us here. We're over 7,000 now in just a matter of a few months. Super happy, and I feel so honored to be able to do this with you all daily. So I really want to encourage you all to get involved with the chats in the chat window. Also, hit those emojis, hit those party symbols, hit those 100s, hit those smiley faces, get those emojis running here. See all the lab coats in chat as well. And all right, let's go ahead and continue on here. Now, what do I want to talk about? Well, first things first, now that we got a lot more people in the room, make sure you come over here to BitLab Academy Twitter page. Follow us here, hit that retweet, hit that like button here. You get entered to win. We're doing a drawing today from last week, and we're going to be doing another drawing this Friday. This is how you get entered. Just follow our Twitter, retweet, hit that like button. We draw randomly from the people that that support the channel. If you haven't yet, make sure you're following me here at Kelly Kellam, which is Kelloy, Kellam. I only call this out because there's so many scam fake profiles out there. Coming up on 21,200. Really appreciate all the love there. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, first off, let's start with a shout out to Cryptos RS. He did a video of his sort of time in Miami, included me in that one. Also shouted me out here on his page. It was a pleasure to meet George. I got invited to do a spaces with him. I will be doing 2 spaces this week as well myself for Crypto Answered, because we did not get around to doing one last week. So special shout out to Crypto Vet and Jet and Sky and the team that I have behind me with the Crypto Answer. They've been so patient as I've been getting everything rolling with BitLab Academy, and I know they love me, and I know they also want to choke me a little bit for a little bit of inconsistency there. I just had so much to do to get the BitLab stuff there, BitLab stuff done. Now we got to talk about this. Scott retweeted this. Now, I just appreciated his sort of message here above this this news article. And the U.S. Department of Defense has failed its last 5 audits, and they're worried about what we're doing with crypto. They're worried. They're telling us, hey, man, we need to be better with our money. We need to, it's our fault if we're in debt. Meanwhile, the U.S. government cannot balance its own books and can only account for roughly 35% of the spending. Can you believe this? The rest has disappeared into the ether, and not Ethereum. No, this is into the void where they can't tell us where the money's been. And they want to tax people they want to figure out a way to tax people that sent, $400, $500, $600, $800 on Venmo. Those amounts are not going to be what brings our budget to bear, the U.S. government's budget. What's going to bring the budget under control is them spending money on things that matter, not over bureaucratizing every single aspect of what we're doing in life. We need to figure out healthy regulation in all markets, yes, but healthy regulation does not mean over-regulation, okay? And he says right here, Joe Biden the Bitcoin magazine says, Joe Biden compares crypto traders to wealthy tax evaders. Well, throw a 1 in chat right now. Let's do just a general poll. Would you consider yourself wealthy? Put a 1. I doubt there's going to be very many 1s. Now, am I wealthy in spirituality? Am I wealthy in love of friends and family? Absolutely I am. Am I wealthy from crypto? No. Have I made a decent living in crypto? Absolutely I have. But I would not consider myself wealthy. I'm still trying to figure out how to plan for my future. I think when you are wealthy, your money is making you so much money. There's no real worry about it other than figuring out, how are you going to, avoid taxes? I feel like that's the wealthy person's agenda. And so I don't think wealthy people should pay more taxes than anybody else because they're wealthy. I think everybody should pay their fair share. But I also know that certain people that make a lot of money also create businesses and create enterprises that are driving innovation and driving employment. And so do we want to incentivize them a little bit with some tax cuts here and there? Absolutely. Why? Because if not, other countries do. Businesses leave our shores if we do not provide that mechanism to incentivize people that are driving revenues and driving the economy to stay within our borders. It's the same thing that we are seeing right now with what's going on with Coinbase and Gemini looking at moving their businesses offshores because our government officials can't figure out a way to keep one of the best technological revolutions of our time within our borders, empowering it because it is good, not regulating it because they are threatened by it, which is essentially what they're doing right now. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm against regulation. I'm saying that the regulations that they're talking about, taxing miners exorbitantly. Why? Mining helps offset the power grid so that we can utilize energy that's already been, when you see these gas producers, oil producers, coal producers, energy companies on the traditional sort of ecosystem. I don't mean digital, I don't mean Bitcoin miners, I mean traditional energy companies. You know that roughly 30 to 35% of all energy that is created is completely wasted because there's no way to effectively store it, or just the burn off of the fuel. There's so much waste in the energy sector that without creating any extra energy, we can utilize by transferring the energy it took to mine that gold, transferring the energy that it took to harvest that oil, to produce gas, there's ways to transfer that to storing it in the blockchain on Bitcoin. So why would we not want to use some of this excess energy, some of this geothermal energy, how is that a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing that threatens their ability to maintain power in the same system that they're in. Because currently their power is harvested through their ability to regulate and control the gates of the energy sector as it is. So if that sector were to shift and the power that goes with, transition in monetary systems, that's the reason why they're trying to regulate. But I'm going to get myself shadow banned here on the show. Shout out Alex Green in the house. I'm going to catch up with you after the stream, my friend. We got a lot to talk about if you're free. But let's go ahead and jump back on here. Bitcoin is the reason for the issue with the debt ceiling, everybody. I'm saying it right now. Absolutely not. That is just that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't know who's pulling President Biden's strings, but we gotta shape this up, because what's happening here is a lack of transparency in their spending. And you know what's crazy about that? They're trying to overregulate Bitcoin because they don't know, and crypto and the digital asset ecosystem, because they're worried about these things that are the biggest issue in the traditional economy and the traditional budget management within the U.S. government and all governments, really. But transparency, you know what the core principle of decentralized blockchains is? The ability to have transparency because it's a shared ledger. So isn't it funny, the same thing that they're trying to point this finger and this blame over in this cloud of FUD on the crypto and the digital asset ecosystem is the core principle for which it's actually built on, and opposite of what they're saying this ecosystem is. So, sorry, I had to go on a little rant there today. We just had to bring this up. We had to talk about it. Let me go ahead and check in with chat real quick. Let's see if you guys are absolutely hating what I'm saying or if you agree. Yeah, it's Elliot Locke. Wealthy? What's that? Yeah, let me put this into context. Okay. I'm sitting waiting for some of the guys that I'm meeting up with. Elliot Locke, who else was there? All the people I was talking about earlier. Elliot Locke, Brad Guidel, CryptoSec guy, Agent Gold, and there Tim Warren, a number of people. And I got to the restaurant a little early. I had 2 drinks, and you know how much it was? $48. And I had to act like that $48 didn't matter. But let's be honest, $48 for 2 drinks. That affects anybody and everybody. I mean, I am so far from wealthy. Am I comfortable? Well, here, I'll put it this way. I am very cash poor because I believe in the crypto and digital asset ecosystem so heavily that I'm putting, right now, especially where we're at within the market, I'm putting absolutely everything possible that I can into allocations, whether it's actually into specific crypto assets or even DCAing into dry powder, aka USDC, USDT, having assets on the side ready to take advantage of targets when they do arise. So, and I'm also DCAing into the particular assets that I'm in. So, we all will be wealthy. Everybody on this channel, that is learning how to manage our emotions within the charts so that we don't get held hostage by better traders, because we are trading on fear and FOMO and greed. That's what informs our ability to donate money to them. No, we are trading and investing on strategy, action, and mindset, being in control of our mindset so that we can take advantage of the charts rather than the charts taking advantage of us. All right, jumping back in here. And where are we at? Where's my mouse? There we are. Now, next thing I want to show here, this goes back into what I was talking about before, about this overregulation, this lack of just understanding of what's going on with this digital asset sort of revolution. The major financial centers in Europe and Asia are looking to capitalize on the SEC's unwillingness to work with crypto startups. What does this mean? They're creating provisions and laws and regulation that's in support, and it's in empowering, and it's clear. More than anything, it's a clear understanding of where they stand on these issues. Is every one of their regulations and every one of their decisions 100% what these crypto startups and crypto businesses within the digital asset ecosystem, is it 100% in line with what they want, what we want? No. But the number one thing that all of those businesses want is my thing overheating. The number one thing that we're looking for, any crypto business, even myself with this channel, talking about certain sponsorships and stuff. There's certain people that I would love to bring on, but there's such lack of clarity about what that would mean that, you know, I'm starving our business from the ability to have those funds because there's no clarity about what the regulation is. Clarity is the number one thing businesses want. And the U.S. is fumbling right now beyond reproach. It's like, I'm so excited about 2024 and 2023 because I think ushering into that year and the growing awareness of the digital asset ecosystem and the growing adoption. Let's go ahead and look at this. Actually hit my. As of 2023, we estimate global crypto ownership rate at an average of 4.2%. Over 420 million people worldwide use crypto. Now, what is the U.S. Crypto? Okay, it is estimated that 46 million people, 13.7%, I would have thought it would have been a little lower, of America's total population currently own cryptocurrency. From the survey conducted, we see that 81% of the U.S. adults have heard of crypto in 2022. We see a significant rise of 12 percentage points compared to 69% of U.S. adults in 2020. So think about this. Think about how fast adoption, globally, and how far 4% globally, and how many people are in the world. If we even reduce the population just to people that have access to the internet, maybe that percentage point would be a little bit higher, right? But 46 million people in the U.S. who are currently involved in some capacity with Bitcoin, whether it's 0.001 Bitcoin or not, it means that they took some sort of dive, some sort of exposure into the space. And as the banks are fumbling, as the U.S. government is mismanaging the funds, as inflation's on the rise, Bitcoin's prospect only gets better because of the program nature of which there's going to go from the small amount of programmed inflation that we have, aka mining rewards, which is basically a sloped arch that is flattening out. And I sat with the Rational Root this weekend. We had a couple 2 or 3 hour talks. Let's see here. And I went to his speech as well. And he was on one of the stages. This is actually me, Benjamin Cowan, and Rational Root got to discussing after Root talked. And we were talking for like an hour, and a crowd formed around us as we were talking about markets and where we thought things were going, and potential recession, how it would impact the markets. Just so many great conversations at the conference this weekend. But where is this chart that he posted? It's let's see. It was such a good chart. It was essentially talking about Did he post it somewhere? Maybe it was only in the, I hope he posted it somewhere here. I don't think he's posted it. Maybe it was just special for the conference. It was essentially showing that there was a divergence after the last halving, a very bullish divergence after the last halving, showing essentially the number of new coins issued per day, you know, based on each block, right? Right now it's 6.25 or something like that per block. And the amount of available supply, meaning how many new coins that are being printed, and that's, you know, arcing down and flattening as the halving of rewards happens every 4 years. But also there's a maturity coming into the space where more and more people are holding onto their coins. So there's less coins being available each day, and there's more coins going into long-term held wallets, meaning there's a divergence in the supply shock that's coming into the market. And we also are coming into a halving where there's going to be even less issuance and there's more people holding long term. So there's less available supply in the market. And it's just, I mean, look at this, long-term holders over 73.4%. And this is about, you know, over a month ago. But the point here is there's a supply shock coming in. And if price action in Bitcoin or price action in any asset is governed by the supply demand dynamics, and we're having less available supply, you also don't even need new demand to affect the same positive pressure as you would if supply stayed the same and demand went up. It's the same dynamic. If you have less supply and demand's the same, if supply is going down, demand staying the same, you're still having the same impact as if supply stayed the same and demand goes up. So we're having pressures build in the market. Whether this is going to be a tightly coiled spring, tighter and tighter as we get closer to 2023, where we do, 2024, when we do get this, the halving, which is going to be that supply, an additional program supply shock. There's a lot of things like really, really working in towards the favor of what's happening with the price action. Now, I want to point this out. Looking on the macro. From Rect Capital. If you're not following this person, definitely worth a follow. Great charts all the time. We're looking at the 12-month chart, the yearly candles. This right here looks the same, and we have to remember this. Let's come over here. Let's come back to Bitcoin. Let's see. Let's look right here. You see, let's go to the daily. So we see this right here, that we would call this a bull market, will we not? Right? This is coming up. This is on the daily chart, and this is coming up, little pullback, coming up, little pullback, coming up, little pullback, coming up, it's a little consolidation, coming up, large pullback, but we still say that we are in a bull market. And this is where it gets back to what we were talking about when I always talk about the minimum 3-cycle theory, 3-cycle sort of context, that we need to always consider the macro, the midterm, and the micro. But I would argue that we're even being somewhat myopically and singularly focused when we say that this is the macro. Because this technically, now on Bitcoin, because it's a younger asset, we don't have a huge amount of data in terms of history of price action. But if this is a macro, then what is this? This is really the macro. This is a yearly chart. And this looks just like what we were looking at on a bull market on the daily. Push up. A slight consolidation pullback, push up, slight consolidation pullback, push up, slight consolidation pullback. So as this looks, we're getting basically a red year and then 1, 2, 3 green years. A red year, 1, 2, 3 green years. A red year. What he's asking is this, are we starting another, look at this, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, which is 1, 2, 3. This is basically a cycle he's pointing out. The parabolic run, the correction, and then basically the start of a new bullish cycle. Is this going to be the case, or are we going to face these economic headwinds from the potential recession? Is the Fed going to break something beyond what they've already broken with some of the largest, do you realize, some of the largest banking collapses in history? Not one like Washington Mutual back in the, 12 years ago or so, but actually a little longer than that. But Silvergate, I was about to say Silvergate Financial, Silvergate. So we had SVB, Credit Suisse, PacWest. My brain's not working right now, but we've had 4 so far this year, and it's eclipsed the amount that was previously, and the financial crisis of 2008. But somehow the Fed is trying to say everything's fine while we're having a larger issues than we've had in history with banks. But Bitcoin is poised, especially looking at this chart. Bitcoin is poised to sort of take some of that trust from the uncertainty that is the banking system. So let's go ahead and continue on here. Now, actually, I'm going to do this over here, talking about altcoins. Where are we at? So let's go ahead and look at this. Christopher Inks, I'd like to have him on the show as well. I've had him on our podcast several times. But looking here, we're looking at traditional signals, traditional indicators. And what we're seeing here is that we have basically, this is essentially not an EMA ribbon, but basically a bunch of moving averages here. Okay, so we've got a 200 being red. As simple as this is, be patient with me here, because we all need to remember to take a little bit more time when we're looking at charts and not think we're pulling out insights without even having looked at what the data is on the chart that we should be pulling from. So when you pull up a chart, what are we looking at? We're on Bitcoin USD, the 1 week. We see it up here on the top left. Now we can also see that we have all these moving averages being the longest going up and up, right? So 200, 100, 50, 20. So 200, 100, 50, 20. Now we're seeing a couple different golden crosses coming in here. And we see the 20 is crossing back over the 200 right here. The price action is coming down to see how we're getting rejection on this sort of levels, rejection. Had you guys seen this trend line? This is why it pays to zoom out. As much as you want to know what's going on today, well, sometimes today is governed a little bit of the price memory about what had happened 3-4 years ago. Okay? 5 years, what is this? Actually, what is it? So 2017, it's almost 6 years ago. So by looking and zooming out on the chart, we can get a little more informed position about, okay, price action is holding here. This doesn't mean it's absolutely going to, but you could tell by all the other metrics we've been looking at, as well as looking at this broader chart on a more macro stance. We're seeing that we are at a key juncture here, not only of this trend line. What makes any trend line interesting is when you have a trend line that has a grouping of confluence. What do I mean by that? A grouping of confluence is this trend line that comes out here from this point to this point, established trend line. Now we can see this gets rejected again right here. Confirmed trend line. Now we're finding support right here. Is this going to hold? Well, we also have the 200 moving average. We also have the 20 moving average coming in right in this zone. So look at the grouping of what's happening here of so many different points of interest on the chart, while also the weekly stochastic RSI almost reset into oversold. The RSI here is still sitting above the 50 line. We did get a bit of a correction down, but we were getting a little bit overheated without having really made super strong headway. So what we can do here is just allow ourselves to look at a broad array of data, not just the things we look at every day. I use the BitLab Trading Stack almost exclusively, but I do go out and look at other data points as well, so I can get a different lens on the market. I follow different people, different analysts I respect in the space. Some being more directionally biased bullish, some being more directionally biased bearish, but I get that broad view. And I want all of you to as well. We got 191 people in the room. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's join the channel. Anybody that's watching over on the HIT Network, I want to just shout out. If you haven't yet, come over here to youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Come follow us here. We're just breaking over 7,000. You can also see, if you scroll down here, this daily alpha, we got basically all these streams here are meant to be more evergreen. It doesn't matter what the price action was happening on these days. There's some skills and tools and different things in here, especially this Pro Trading View guide. If you haven't checked that out yet. And this one is a great one. This one with Jordan Lindsay, excellent investor and trader. We had him on for about an hour and a half interview talking about everything with the macro. And so come over here, give us a follow, join our family here. Now coming back over here into the, let's see, what are we looking at? Now, I want to dive into what's going on today. How do we see what we're going to plan for moving into the end of this month and planning for probably, I think there's going to be some large movements coming into the end of the month, some speculative volatility coming into about the debt ceiling on markets in general, traditional markets as well as Bitcoin, and people preparing, hedging their bets. Also smart money trying to push price and emotions, push those buttons, trigger those emotions in traders that getting a washout liquidity to the downside only to rebound back up, and vice versa, going up. We need to have our plan. And right now I am a position trader because of the likely volatility going in both directions as we come into a sort of critical juncture on price action, maybe washing out down to here only to rebound, getting that sort of, I wouldn't call this really a Wyckoff pattern, but getting what we know in the Wyckoff sort of reaccumulation or distribution is that spring, meaning that final sort of washout to the downside, committing the very weak-minded people to go short to only reverse on them to come back up. I do think we will get some sort of price action washout to the downside, but we also may not, because look at this. We have this strong wick here that has been holding. I still think we are going to tap somewhere in 25K range, meaning I don't mean all the way down to 25K. I mean a wick. We've already got it all the way down here to 25,800. I do think we will get something in the 25.7 to 25.7 to 26,000. I do think we will get one more down here, but I'm not planning everything I have on that movement. I'm ready for it if it happens, because if this happens, we're sort of testing the resolve of the bulls coming into this level, also washing out that last bit of liquidity washing out those last minute long short-term holders. So looking at this, what I want you to see here is exchange liquidity trend. Let's dive into the exchange liquidity trends for the top 4 assets below. We can see changes in the weekly exchange activity against the yearly activity for these assets. So this is Bitcoin coming onto exchange, or basically increase in liquidity, I should say. Decrease in liquidity. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, everything going on. Now coming across here, now we can see this one is ETH. A little more stagnated, but look at this sort of increase here. This trend is it is still negative, but it is increasing here. Now we can see exchange activity trend. This is USDT. So we're seeing here a bit of a stagnation here on this activity ratio for USDC. We're seeing a little bit of stagnation here, and this supports this whole back in a bearish pattern while trading in a bullish pattern. Uncertainty right now coming into the end of this month. What's going to happen with China? With the new legality, is there going to be the true opening of the gates for liquidity for Chinese citizens and people in that region to actually be owning and trading and buying large market cap digital assets? It's a speculation, but we'll see it when it happens. If it does happen after June 1st, debt ceiling. All these things coming into the end of this month. A lot of people speculate, sell them, and walk away. Are we clearing up some of that sort of sentiment only to explode in June? Well, let's go ahead and look at some more data here. Well, the RHODL, by the way, which is one of the things, let's go ahead and go to bitlabacademy.com because I haven't said anything about this yet. This is live, by the way. Come up here if you want to join. Hit and enroll now. Boom, right there. and you just, on the right-hand side, when you click on this, on the right-hand side, unless you're on your phone, this is the one you can do free. This is the very basics: Bitcoin 101, blockchain 101, some self-custody, and some select lessons from all the other courses. But if you really are looking to learn, come here to I Want All Access, and you get access to basically everything in the courses area. And there's so many new courses that we're working on right now. This is going to be continually updated. You get access to all of these different things, and each one of these has a number of lessons in them. Like on-chain has 20 lessons, and there's going to be more I'm filming this week. Candles, candle patterns, technical analysis, indicators. This is all, RSIs, stochastics, Bollinger Bands, Ichimoku, the BitLab trading stack, trading strategies. We're adding a bunch of these this week. I'm actually filming more of these as well. I'm going to be bringing in guest experts as well, and you also have access to the Discord. So get in here. If you have any questions, come to the FAQ, the frequently asked questions. And if you have questions about how to, get your Discord logged in, or, questions about TradingView, we've got membership questions. We've got all of the different things in here. And if you do have a question beyond that, you can contact us right here or hit me on my Twitter. But my point here is, even with the on-chain stuff, the RHODL, we have that as part of the on-chain data course here in BitLab Academy. So looking at the RHODL, what is this? This is the realized HODL ratio. This is a 1 week ratio of coins that have moved within the last week to coins that have been, basically young coins being moved versus medium old coins being moved, 1 to 2 years old when they last moved. And we're seeing when this comes all the way down to this zone down here, meaning there's a lot more longer term held coins, there's a ratio of more long-term holders or a ratio of more short-term holders. We see that this is very tightly correlated with price action bottoms and tops. And what I'm looking at here is we can see this basically moving out of here, 2015, 2016, this kind of tapped back into this region. Moving out here, this kind of tapped back a little bit above it, but it did have this bit of a retrace. We're seeing the same thing right now. We've moved out of this region, and we're having a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of testing of the bullish sentiment, washing out more of the short-term holder, non-conviction buyers. So everything's good there. We're looking at the Bitcoin trim fib opportunity zones. This is an on-chain metric I created, which is basically the fib multiples of the realized price, also overlaying the long-term holder and short-term holder lines on here, cost basis. And what we can see right here, where price is, we pushed our head up against this purplish, which is the bull floor band. But right now, as a bear, this is kind of like, new cycle ceiling until we really get through it. We could see right here, this did sort of butt right up against it, but we did break back below it. In 2015, we see we got rejected here, consolidated on the capitulation or hope zone, which is this bar right here. We can see this. If I turn off all of these, actually, boom, boom, and turn off long-term holder, turn off short-term holder, we can see more clearly. You see back in 2015, we butted our head up against this ceiling, and we found support right here on this capitulation. Actually, this is the bear exhaustion. Let's see. Yeah, no, this is a capitulation hope zone. So once we broke through it, boom, now we're sitting there finding support on this hope zone until we finally broke above the bull floor band, use this as support, and basically we're off to the races. Now, go ahead and zoom out. Zoom out. All I want to do is zoom, and a boom, boom. All right, we can see right here, we've pushed up, got a similar rejection that we saw in 2015, and now we're kind of riding right above that. Now, this capitulation hope zone is sitting right at 25,619. That's also in support with what we were talking about, where price action, I'm thinking about where price action may dip back into. But one of the things I want to really pay attention to is this short-term holder realized price. I call it the trend signal line, because you see, once we lose this and find it as rejection, we're in a bear market. Once we break above it, strong bullish trend. Once we break below it, strong bearish trend. Break above it, we use this as support, strong bullish trend. And so what we've done is we have broken above this as well as used it as support. And it's sitting here right at that hope zone, that capitulation hope zone band at 25,600. The short-term hold realized price is 25,500. We're finding confluence here, which is very similar to what we were looking at when we saw this right here with this huge sort of trend line coming all the way across here. So we're seeing a confluence of signals that we're coming into a very critical level of support and it doesn't mean everything's over if we lose it, but it means we need to be very heightened and aware of patience coming into these zones. Okay, now if we come up, what do I want to see? There's something else I wanted to show on here. Glassnode. Okay, so this is the new address momentum. As I'm going to turn my face off here so you can see the charts. New address momentum. Will Clemente put me onto this. So special shout out to him. By the way, if you have not, great interview over on BitBoy Crypto that I did an interview with Will Clemente. We released it on BitBoy. It was about an hour, around an hour, and he's the one that put me onto this. It's a great way to track basically momentum coming into the market. And it's a new address momentum on two different trend lines. Basically, this one is, I believe, the 50-day trend line. Sorry, not trend lines. 50-day simple moving average, and then we also have the new addresses just in general smoothed out to 365 moving average. And we can see basically what we're seeing here when we look at this is basically the healthy aggregate movement over the course of a year, basically smoothed out. And then we can see when we're getting on a smoothed out, but much faster moving average is 50-day, when we're getting a strong increase. And what we see right here, sharp, basically lack of retail, lack of interest, lack of new buyers coming into the space. This is where we get the strong cross. Now right here, look at this cross right here. Look at where it is in this basically floor, basically bottom of the bear market. Cross right here, strong divergence through here, new addresses coming in, and strong price action to the upside. Now this comes down and tests this 1 year moving average line, and basically still, look at this, still increasing through this downtrend right here. This is also the pre-halving sort of run up, sell off. We also saw this in 2015. But what we're looking at right now is something very similar. We got a little bit of a fake out here, but we got this cross right here in the middle of this bottom as well. If we zoom in on this, let me actually, right here. So we get this cross. Let me zoom. It's much clearer when you kind of, okay, let's look at all. We get this cross right here, and price action breaks past the short-term hold across basis, new address momentum coming up, but this is also coming down much like it did right here to test, much like, so we had this huge strong divergence right here, right? And then it came back down towards it. Didn't quite get all the way to that moving average, but we can see very similar setups. It's that pre-halving interest that comes back to the washout. So I just wanted to note that. And then coming over here, this is where we're at on the halving process, 76.38% on the halving prices. This is, you can find at Bitcoin Strategies, bitcoinstrategyplatform.com. Rational Root does this one. He's got a lot of great charts on here. And you can see this is basically showing in past cycles where we were on when we were at this exact level through this chart. And so on this case, 2018 into 2019, this is where we had the almost top of this pre-halving pump and then sell-off. However, on 2015, we had a little bit of a runoff and a sell-off here, and then another pre-halving pump consolidation. So we may get a sort of aggregate between the two. I don't necessarily think this is going to be the pre-halving top and we're going to have strong just sideways all the way through into 2024. I do think that we may get one more sort of bump to the upside, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, so we just have to pay attention to that. Now coming back, putting my face back on the chart, we got 196 people in here. Hit those like buttons, throw those emojis in chat, those quick little, drive some engagement in here. Excuse me. So now it's we got some time. Let's do some TA. We talked a lot of macro today. We need to do that. We need to look at the data of what's going on here. I know what I wanted to show before we do that. Before we get into that, I want to come over here to favorites, looknode.com. Just take a little gander. I haven't done this in about a week. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a rounding bottom here on addresses with a balance of over 1,000. What does this mean? Well, we can see this sort of, I'm looking for when we really start getting an uptick here. This is suggesting that, you know, maybe we're going to start getting you know, those mid to large size contextually wallets really starting to increase their positions. Let's see, addresses with over 10, flat, addresses with over 10,000. Pretty flat. Newpol. This is very similar to what I was talking about with the R hodl, which is when you have the market generally holding in a loss or generally holding in profit. Okay. Excuse me. When we move out on this stage of the cycle, when we get this back into the above the zero line, but back into generally in profits, we tend to have a bit of a pullback. Look at this. Back generally in profits, pullback, back generally in profits. Very weak to have really, it's very similar to the 2015 one when we see here. So the whole point here is this is healthy. Everything is happening right now. This stagnation, it's not like Bitcoin's doing something it's never done before. Will it? It might. But we're seeing healthy setups on everything going on in here. What I wanted to show though is a long-term holder position change. Okay, we had a sharp increase with long-term holders at these levels. This gives me a little more confidence. While the short-term holder, here we are. Short-term holders were having a strong sort of offloading, giving their coins to longer-term holders. Scared, volatility. Price moved back into the zone from which, you know, maybe they were holding since all the way back here. Price came back into that zone, so they sell. Well, or just even this movement right here. Oh, this is so scary. I better sell. No, this isn't scary. This is opportunity developing because price is getting, you know, especially where we're at in the market. I don't know what your strategy is. This is not financial advice. I am a net buyer because of where we're at in the market cycle, but it doesn't mean I buy every price movement. It means I identify my targets. I identify my zone. So let's look at that. Let's go ahead and pull up the BitLab trading stack. We can see we've got right here, key level, the 382 on this move, also sitting right about where this low is on the zone. Now, this does look quite bearish. We've talked about this. We are on the daily. Let's stay on the daily. We're getting some bullish divergence on volume coming in, trying to defend this zone. But we can't ignore this bearish sort of price action with increased momentum to the downside, and this blue wave, which is now flipped back to gray, meaning this is back to neutral. The blue wave showing very undervalued. But then this is back to zero. But we are having some bullish divergence on the volume. And we're also seeing the relative extrema. We could tell because the candle is green here. This is green because the relative extrema is showing that there's a more underlying bullish pressure than is being accounted for price action moving, right? So are we seeing a little bit of a W pattern forming here? I don't know yet, but let's come down to the 4 hour. This is looking option T. No, I'm not going to do that. This is looking on the 4 hour relatively weak because look at all these. We're getting some choppiness back and forth with the relative extrema, but we're also look at all these. There's one little small bull div on the volume, but we're getting all these bearish divergences here on the volume all the way through here. Just lack of interest on any upward movement. And this is very neutral. I do think that we are going to, there's a bearish money flow right here, which money flow bearish as well as volume bearish. I'm going to lean, I'm going to ignore, I would ignore this bullish divergence right here and some bullish div or some bullish signals on the relative extrema. When we have volume saying is bearish and money flow coming out, it's going to cause me to hesitate very heavily on any sort of real bullish price action. Look at this, trying to move up. All of these candles are pink, suggesting there's not the support necessary to continue this higher. Now we're looking at this on the mesopic vision. We got the point of control on this view right here, right about where the price action is. Now, if we turn on the submersives, which is the entire looking at the entire screen. I'm seeing if there's any sort of volume. Okay, it's all above us. Come back to the 4 hour. I'm looking for these blue and red boxes. Okay, nothing super of note on this, which is okay. But I do think we're going to get some sort of washout down into this region. If we do come up on Bitcoin, we still have this directly above our head. We're up here, 27.8, 27.8. Even if we got past that, this very well, boom, 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 boom. If we do this on a, what am I looking for? The AC just kicked on and is blowing right into my eyeballs. So I am, what am I looking for? I don't know. But we've got one, 2, 3, 4, 5, if we're looking at like an Elliott wave sort of structure. But I do think, even with this moving up, I would be still very cautious if this did have a bullish impulse to the upside, especially if it was before the end of this month. I'm on a cautious zone right now, looking for price action when it does come lower, because I do think it is going to happen. I do think June does have a stronger possibility of being bullish. Now, moving out of this, we got to look at some other coins. We'll be talking about Bitcoin, and it's the health barometer really of the Bitcoin market, right? So we have to focus on this on a major level. Now, go ahead, coming here directly to the charts. Let's go ahead and look at, this is what I want to show before we dive into the alts. So we're talking about dominance on Bitcoin. It's sitting in that triangle, diamond, I mean. Go here, this right here. Now, I do think that there's a possibility for this. A lot of people are waiting for this to break this sort of this base that we've had with this range for quite some time. However, when I see stuff like this, and we see this sort of chart, and this is essentially the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're basically sitting right on this level. Now, if this loses this level, very strong. Of course, if this loses this level, then the Bitcoin dominance will likely, Bitcoin will be holding a lot stronger than alts. However, this also does show the potentiality to maybe have a small washout to the downside, but actually I'm leaning towards, maybe I have a directional bias. So you need to be aware of that, that this could be actually having this moment now to where we're at that point coming into the end of May, that we have the debt ceiling stuff sorted, not sorted, but cleared up about what the decision is going to be. And if this starts, basically bouncing here, this bouncing here to the upside is indicating that the altcoins are moving relatively strongly. So let's go ahead and look at those altcoins. First off, let's look at Ethereum. Look at, okay. So look at this. We've got this, remember, when we were looking at Ethereum, we had this sort of descending triangle, right? Descending resistance, flat bottom, into a ascending triangle. So talk about lack of clarity about what's going on. It's one to the other. Now with this though, this is trying to get back in that zone. It's arguably that it maybe already is in that zone, because look at this. You see, this is why you need to always have multiple looks at what you're doing, because this is technically, let's see, boom. This is more technically appropriate about what's going on with the price action on Ethereum. And as it looks right now, we are still within the zone. And this is, very bearish in terms of the volume profile, being the divergences that we're seeing with these reds. This is on the top side of the volume profile. This is showing lack of interest coming into these zones. Each time it comes up into this zone, each time, look at this. I'm watching my cursor. It comes up into the zone, lack of conviction. Comes up into the zone, not only lack of conviction on volume, but also the relative extrema showing lack of support coming into the zone. Again, barely getting back up there, already rolling over. We could see this. We could see this playing out time and time again. Is this going to coil into here? And which way is it going to break out? Well, if Bitcoin is going to have a little bit more of a washout to the downside, well, what does that mean for Ethereum? I do believe that Ethereum... Man, I'm feeling fake out season coming in. I'm feeling even this faking out into here only to come back down into this sort of 1711 region, which is these highs, these lows. That if I had to guess, that's something that I think would be very likely here because of this structure, kind of getting some sort of washout, trapping people long, and then coming to the downside. But we'll see. I'm being patient right now, not taking a move at the second price action moves. I don't jump in. All right. All right. So sorry, I was just looking at the chat here. Do I get any? Okay, so Harry Newt or Harry Nut. Funny name there. So yeah, I'm thinking fake out season. But if we could even see potentially there's another channel here like this, which I'm just seeing right now. Yeah. So this actually looks like it's more likely the position that we're in. I mean, we can keep another sort of line right here, suggesting, there we go. So this looks very similar to Bitcoin now, looking at with this lens, rejection, support, 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 almost kind of making into this parallel sort of falling channel. So what is, it's still an indecision sort of setup. Falling channel that is inherently bullish at some point. There's no real idea about when the resolution on this would be, but we do have this sort of rising sort of ascending triangle, flat bottom here. Is this going to come up and just reject back and come all the way back down to here? I do think that is a stronger likelihood. If we look at this on the daily, let's kind of look, let's get a feel for what's going on the indicators. Let's go to auto, come on. Okay. So that we are getting the blue signal that did flip gray. Look at this relative extrema flashing here, bearish. It was bearish. It's kind of come back into being neutral at the moment. Coming down to the 8 hour. Yeah, it's just, there's some bullish diversions that came in that had no follow through. So this is some bulls out there trying to make it happen, and then nobody agreed with it. And we see this large wick right here, only to come back down. In this case, I'm looking at lower for Ethereum. Testing potentially 1742, coming down, testing these regions down here, 1740, and if we lose that down to the 1700, 1711. Now coming back over to Cardano. Okay, we had that rising wedge, false breakout, rejection, coming back down. Now we had this bit, the bulls keep trying. We got the bullish divergence here. We're on the 8 hour. Bullish divergence here. We have the blue undervalued signal here on the significant movement. This is the aggregate of several different momentum indicators, the stochastics, RSI, true strength. There's a number of different things in here that this is reading, that when all of them are signaling that things are undervalued, that things are cooled off, and it's likely coming into a bottom region, that's when you get this blue. And we see this came right into not only this trend line of support, we also got the blue signal, and we got a bullish divergence on the volume, and we got the relative extrema. We could tell by these arrows, which these little dots, these little arrows, only flash when the first candle that comes out showing it's unhealthy. And so this did attempt a bounce. I mean, this wasn't a bad bounce either. This was a 4.5% bounce. So on spot, a spot move, 5% in a couple days is a good move for those that are out there scalping. Those of you, and I don't recommend anybody that's not a professional trader, anybody that is leverage trading, you have that on 3x, 5x, something respectable, meaning that you're managing your risk appropriately, but using the tools available to you. You're not doing 30x, because that's how you lose everything. On a 3x, 5x, you're getting 15 to 25% on this move right here. And, getting out of that move. And we see it's bearish right now with this candle. It's marked bearish here, as well as the lack of conviction of the upside price action. So things are still they're just trapping liquidity to the upside, only to reverse it back down. Trapping liquidity, only to reverse it back down. So as it looks right now, if we did this option F from the top to the bottom, look at that, came right in, held, basically tapped into the 786 platinum pocket, as Army Piper calls it. But then the bodies closed right into this region under the golden pocket. is looking relatively weak, but this also, some could argue that this is a bull flag, but with all of this unhealthiness sitting right here, I would venture to guess that this, unless this bounced at the 382, which is also all this price action, that this would likely continue back down and test down here to the 35.6 level. If we don't hold, then, you know, maybe we're working our way down to just this 35 level. I was talking to Evan Aldo. If we do get a nuke in the market, meaning that we get some price action really bearishly volatile, he's looking for even potential, you know, price action getting all the way down below the 20-cent mark on Cardano. I mean, I think it's possible, but I'm not looking at that bearish. If we look at this line right here, this line right here is this sort of zone right here. You could call this inverted cup and handle or head and shoulders. If we sort of mark that out down, this is calling for around a 31 cent Cardano. And I'm still a little bit more bullish than that, but it all depends on what the market's doing. Things are trying to make headway and they just keep getting rejected. So I'm looking at these levels here. This 34 cent to 35 cent region is some strong opportunities for position trading for going up. Now, Avalanche had a bit of a move yesterday, a little basically wash out to the downside. I DCA'd into to Avalanche a bit yesterday on this move right here. When this came down, I just happened to be looking at the charts, and I also was looking at targets sub 14, and I was able to take advantage of that. Now, if this goes down below that, doesn't bother me. If it goes down below that, I will take basically have another opportunity to DCA lower. Now we see this hammer candle. Now we're getting a bit of a, you know, two sort of reversal candles. We'll see. This is a 4-hour chart. This is looking like it's likely going to be rolling over. We do have the undervalued here, but this is sort of eclipsed by price action being weak here, which we can see on the relative extreme, coming into these previous these previous lows, and we're getting a candle pattern showing a loss of momentum. See the size of this candle body? See the size of this candle body, meaning this candle's bigger. Now, just by looking at the candle sizes, this one's small, gets bigger, gets much smaller, and has wicks both directions, showing indecision. So if this was bullish conviction and this is indecision, what does that say about momentum? It's saying that this is struggling at this region, and we didn't even get past these previous local highs right here. This is likely going to test down a bit, if not continuation down. So we need to just be aware of that. Looking at the 24-minute, we can see, oh, look at this. This is a great example of the mesopic vision. This is the feather. We're seeing these anomalies right in these zones, and look at what price action is doing. Came down, came up, rejected, came up, rejected, came down. Now this paused into this sort of zone. This came up, used this as support, which is also a previous high, rejected at this low. This is basically outlining areas of interest of where liquidity is likely coming, basically magnetized back towards. Up, rejected, test down here, up, rejected. In addition to that, we have to pay attention. If we're looking at this on a monthly, this would be concerning. It's rolling over. High, higher high, lower high, right? So the same premise applies when looking at a 24-minute chart. It's indicating that price action is trying, it's attempting to roll over. Will it? We'll have to see. This is through the EMA ribbon. But we're also getting bearish divergence on volume, lack of interest, and on balance volume bearish divergence, and the external, which is a hidden volume bearish divergence. And we're overheated coming right into the zone. So AVAX is looking like it, unless something changes here, that this is likely going to be giving us a better opportunity for some lower prices if it doesn't hold this 1423 sort of region. Now, let me go ahead and look over. Let's do XRP is looking a lot like Avalanche did. Now coming over to what did I want to show you? Oh, come here. Let's do save. Let's go to alts. Man, oh man. We got 179 people in here, 139 likes. Let's drive those. Oh, you know what I got to do? We're going to do 2 more charts, and we're going to do the content, the drawing. If you haven't yet, come over to BitLab Academy. retweet, follow us here, hit that retweet button, hit that like button. Mods, you can drop the tweet in the chat. You get entered to win. This entrance will be be drawing on Friday, and the one I'm about to draw right now is going to be for last week, including Saturday. And I just want to shout out everybody for always giving, for being here so often and being here in the community. I really appreciate and love all you guys. I'm so happy I got to meet you. Now, looking at Algorand, this is what we'll talk about. Algorand was Algorand's been struggling. Now, come here. Let's go to the daily. Algorand's been struggling. We'll talk about this because we haven't talked about it in a while. Look at this. Think of a like a rock or a coin, a flat rock that when you're skipping rocks on the water, right? You skip it. Oh, skip, 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 skip. This is giving me that impression that it's this glass, this ice covered lake right here is getting it's getting pretty weak. And look at this. This line right here is the low of what we're seeing on the chart. And we are technically, this has formed a new low from this area right here. And so this is looking pretty darn weak. Pretty darn weak. Yeah, I'm just taking this in. But sometimes the darkest time is right before the dawn, right? So this is looking relatively weak. We're going to do a trend line option J. Am I getting... There we go. Now this is option J. So yeah, I'm looking at this like this is low, option J. If this does lose this level, Algorand, man, this is not looking bullish. But yeah, I would just be very cautious with this. I think there may be a washout to the downside. I'd be a strong buyer at 10 cents, 10.6. This is also back here in this previous low region. So what I would be doing is, let's go ahead and go option F from this zone. No, option F. There we go. From this low to this high. Man. This is looking super bullish, bearish, because even the golly, yeah, this I'd be a pretty strong buyer in this region down here, this 10.6 area. That's what I'd be looking at. If it does hold, you know, maybe this is just a washout. Maybe the little wick up here, come here, and then we start working on a breakout. If this does hold this zone, then that's something that very well could happen. If we come down here to the 2 hour, let's look at some strength here. Auto. Bring this in. Let's go ahead. Okay. So momentum, this is looking a little bit more bullish on the momentum, but it's coming directly into strong bearishness. See this right here? The momentum's trying to come up, this aggregate healthy momentum wave, but it goes directly into very, like there's this, it's almost like it's being suppressed. We can see it's neutral here. So I do think we're going to get a little bit more of a test to the downside before it resolves to the upside. That's not what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Now we've got to get the BitLab thing set up because we're about to do the drawing. Let's hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Now let's go ahead and connect this to the comment picker. All right. Log in with Twitter. Doing the drawing. This is going to be for 1 month indicators and 1 month new courses. Authorized app. Internet is going slow. I don't know what to do while I'm waiting. I hope my browser doesn't crash. This will be funny right at the end of the show. There we go. Redirecting in a few moments. Let's get this crypto anon. It's like my computer locked up or something. Of course, my browser crashes on the last 2 minutes. It's coming up on 11:30. God, Lee. Restore. I believe I'm still live. I think I'm still live. Let's go ahead and see if, go to Twitter. No. My browser crashed. I don't even know if I'm still live, but we're going to do this comment. There we go. Okay. Draw. Logged in. Okay. This is logged in. It crashed my darn. Here we go. Okay. What we doing? Spinning wheel. I gotta. I have to reselect. Okay, save. Reselect. Thank you guys for putting up with me. It doesn't show. I'm gonna have to sort this out. Google Chrome. Here we go. There we go. All right. So which one is going to be? Spin the wheel. Let's do it. What day is it going to be? Thursday. All righty. So what day was Thursday last week? Let's see. Okay. It was the first, I think it was this one right here. Yeah. Was it? Which day was Thursday? This was Thursday. Copy link to tweet. Okay. All righty then. Link to your. Okay, let's do it. Let's see who won. Free month, free courses and indicators. Crypto JMP. I think you already have. I'm going to do another one. I think you're in the middle of like a 3-month deal. I'll private message you and give you something else extra special as well, just to make sure we get some multiple people winning on this stuff. PW Wood Carver. All righty. 1 month of both. Big love to everybody. I appreciate you all. I hope everybody is, I think I'm streaming right now. I don't know because of my window and everything crashing. It does look like I'm still streaming. All right. Hit that like button on the way out. I love you all. And you know what? As my dad says, bring me a higher low. I'll see y'all in the next stream. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. BitLabAcademy.com. Adios, muchachos.